Welcome to the Golden Light Podcast, a production of the Golden Goddess Tarot, where spirituality meets empowerment. I'm Goddess Rikatequila, your guide through the mystical, the magical, and the practical. Each episode will explore spiritual lessons, ancient wisdom, and the art of tarot as a tool for self-discovery and growth. Whether you're looking for guidance, inspiration, or just a soulful moment of reflection, you're in the right place. Let's align with our highest selves and create magic together. Stay tuned, y'all. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of the Golden Light Podcast, where we align with our highest selves through spirituality, empowerment, and intuitive wisdom. Together, we'll explore the depths of spirituality, healing, and self-discovery. I'm Goddess Rikatequila, and today we're diving into an important and often challenging topic, breaking through blockages in shadow work. Shadow work is the process of uncovering, understanding, and healing our unconscious patterns, wounds, and triggers. Yes, I said triggers, and that word could be a trigger. But let's be real. Sometimes we hit walls, right? We feel stuck and unable to move forward and unsure of how to navigate the deeper layers of ourselves. When we think about that, it's hard enough to understand other people, but it's not as easy to understand yourself sometimes. So let's talk about this. In this episode, we'll discuss how to recognize your triggers, understand where blockages come from, and use spiritual tools to move past them. At the end, I'll also pull some tarot, you know what I'm saying, to gain some insight on what's blocking the collective and how we can clear the path to move forward, because that's what we all want, right? To remove those blockages, stagnant energy, and move forward. My right ear is now ringing. So take a deep breath, grab a journal if you'd like, and let's get started. The first step in breaking through blockages is recognizing your triggers. Triggers are emotional reactions that stem from unresolved wounds or past experiences. When something triggers us, it often points to something hidden in our subconscious that needs some attention, maybe a little love and maybe a little light, right? Here are a few key ways to recognize a trigger when it arises. Number one, feel an intense emotion reaction that seems disproportionate to the situation. I'm going to say it again. Moments where you feel an intense emotional reaction that seems disproportionate to the situation. To break that down a little further, what I'm talking about is you have a reaction to something, not realizing, but of course, through actively recognizing, right? This is how we're recognizing it. Your reaction seems so much more on the larger scale side of things than the actual situation. Let me explain. One day I was having a conversation, and this is just an example, a personal one. I was having a conversation with a friend at the time, and this person said something to me about something that was on the news um, that involved, you know, children not being well or being treated well. Let's put it that way, not being treated well. And that triggered me. My response was to tell this person over the phone in this group setting to stop talking about it. I didn't want to hear it and shut that shit down. And I was yelling. And then I broke out into tears and I hung up. I knew that my emotional reaction seemed disproportionate to the actual situation because it wasn't a personal attack on me. So why were my emotions coming across so very personal about this person just talking about what's on the news? I will tell you why. When I did the introspection, it didn't take me long because I practice what I preach, right? So I'm giving you gold nuggets of wisdom to help you through this because I've done it. I've failed a few times and I've succeeded a lot of times. But I sat back, and in that moment after hanging up on everybody, I realized I had a what felt like to me an emotional blowout. when the situation didn't really call for that at all. It wasn't warranted. It was disproportionate to the actual situation. So I took a few breaths. I put my big girl panties on and I gave this friend a call back and I personally apologized to this person for my reaction and explained that it had stemmed from a childhood trigger where I felt like, I wasn't treated well. And so I realized at this big old age that I needed to do some more healing around that. And that was just 2 years ago. So just helping you kind of put that into perspective. Another way to recognize a trigger when it arises, you experience sudden anger, sadness, fear, or anxiety without a clear reason. Number three, you avoid certain people, conversations, or situations without knowing why. And number four, you feel defensive or reactive when receiving feedback or criticism. I'm going to say that last one again. You feel defensive or reactive when receiving feedback or criticism. That one right there, baby, that takes the cake. Do you hear me now? That takes the cake because that's one of the biggest ones that I see on a more consistent basis. People get very defensive and reactive when they receive, communication that is feedback or feels like criticism to them. It's an automatic trigger. That's baby, that's the when I say for me and my observation, being in this life purpose that I'm in, serving all of you, I see it a lot. And so I am well versed in helping people with it. So I hope that you've pulled out that journal and that pen, baby, and you're taking notes because triggers are signposts. Think about it as a stop sign. Instead of resisting them, try asking yourself, what is this reaction trying to teach me about me? Where have I felt this before? Answering that question will help you determine um, where it stems from so you can pull it up at the root. Because, baby, if you just break off the stem, the roots are still in the ground. It grows, it regrows. So you want to be mindful to ask yourself, where have I felt this before? And in my example, the very first example I gave, my personal one, I said that I went and took a few moments and thought to myself, and I realized where it was stemming from, right? All right, let's move on to understanding where the blockages come from, because I think that kind of leads right into it. So let's go there. Now that we know how to recognize the triggers, let's talk about the root of blockages in shadow work, right? Blockages typically arise for a few key reasons. Number one, fear of facing the truth. We might be afraid of what we'll discover about ourselves, right? We talked about that a bit. Number two, conditioning and beliefs. Societal, cultural, or family programming can make us feel shame or guilt about our shadows, right? Number three, emotional overwhelming. Some emotions feel too intense to process all at once, and that leads to us trying to avoid it or not wanting to answer the question for ourselves of why did we do something or why did something occur, right? And number four, resistance to change. Even when healing is needed, a part of us clings to familiarity and comfort. So we really kind of don't want to make the change because we want what we're familiar with. We want what has made us comfortable, even if those things are not always so good for us. Remember, think about, well, I'll give a personal example. I think about the time when I was in high school, I would get stressed out. I would eat like a pint of ice cream or more. So it led to me gaining a lot of weight at a young age as well. And I was already a bigger girl, fluffy, fluffy. So it was like I had to learn that I was resisting the change because I clung to the comfort of eating sometimes a gallon of ice cream. You know, I'm just being real. So the key to moving past blockages is to approach them with self-compassion. Instead of shaming yourself for feeling stuck or doing that repeated action, acknowledge that this is a part of the process. Healing is not linear. It's a spiral where we revisit certain wounds at a deeper levels over time. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I said at this big old age, you will find that things that you thought you healed from 10, 15, 20 years ago, there are still parts of it that need healing. It's like um, very similar to the action of breaking a bone and then having to go to some type of rehabilitation. Yes, breaking the bone hurts, but baby, the rehabilitation process, for example, you break your leg, that hurts. But the process of that leg healing and you learning to walk on it again is longer and harder and takes more time, right? A lot more time. So that's just kind of how I um, put this into a real life perspective, something that you have might have felt before. You know, you get your feelings hurt. You might have been in a relationship for 9 months and got your feelings hurt so bad it took you 3 years to heal. You see what I mean? So it's a good thing to be very mindful um, of all of these things as you move through your shadow work, as you do the introspection, as you do the reflection, because really that's what shadow work is. It is introspection of self and reflection of self, right? So reflecting on situations and doing the introspective work to say, what's going on with me? All right. It's a journey of self discovery, and shadow work is definitely a big part of it. If you can get through the shadow work, baby, I can promise you, you've done at least 80% of the work. And you can make it there, baby. You can make it anywhere. So let's talk about some tools for moving past the blockages. So, how do we move forward when we feel stuck? Here are some spiritual tools and practices that can help, right? Number one, journaling prompts for shadow work. I'll give you three just to start with. And if you need more, you know how to reach me, comment below. And I appreciate y'all for hitting that like button and subscribing. Three journal prompts for shadow work. What emotions am I avoiding right now? Right? Because you want to keep it relevant and in the present. What emotions am I avoiding right now? What belief about myself is keeping me stuck? What is my inner child trying to tell me? If you can start with these three questions and answer them openly, honestly, and transparently and authentically with yourself, I promise you, shadow work won't be so hard. And after a while, you really don't need to journal. You kind of just flow through it in your thought process as it becomes second nature. So practice makes perfect when it comes to shadow work. So take every opportunity, big or small, as an opportunity to find the silver lining within shadow work. Because shadow work is actually the silver lining. It doesn't feel so good, but the outcome, what you get from it, is so amazingly divine and healing and freeing. Yes, that it's actually something that you can find the good in, the positive, the what's in it for me, or what in corporate America would be called with them. What's in it for me? What's in it for you to do shadow work? A better life, easier manifestation, having energy that flows and is not stagnant or stuck, and getting everything you desire. Yes. So let's talk about breath work and meditation. So that's another one. So we talked about journaling prompts for shadow work, but breath work and meditation can also help. Deep breathing and guided meditation can help bring repressed emotions to the surface in a safe way. And so I actually make guided meditation um, MP3s. So if you would like a soundbite of guided meditation, please comment down in the comment section below. Let me know how you want to flow, what you're looking for meditations on. And I can also provide a link where you can purchase some of my meditations. They are between 4 and 10 minutes long, but they are amazing and I've gotten great feedback on it. But taking deep breaths and listening to guided meditation, or even walking yourself through guided meditation, because you can do that too, right? And if you want to learn how, I can help you with that. But this can help, once again, bring up those repressed emotions. You need to be able to do that in a safe way because if not, it can be volatile. You can get quite emotional, and that can also lead to depression. which is something that I have had to overcome at many points and intervals in my life. Because, like we said earlier, or like I said earlier, uh, healing is not linear, it's a spiral that represents itself or repeats itself at certain points and intervals in your life. Number three, tarot and oracle card readings. Y'all already know about that, especially if you hear in a part of this golden tribe with such a beautiful vibe. But use the cards to gain insight into your blockages, not just your love life, baby. Right. So ask yourself or ask the cards when you're shuffling, what is keeping me from moving forward? Or rather, ask Spirit of the Divine, right? Because it's not the cards, it's the vessel, it's the connection that you have with the divine. But what is keeping me from moving forward? How can I release this? I use my tarot cards when I do personal reads for myself. It's normally about what's coming in a situation, but also a lot of times I am looking at what's keeping me from moving forward and how do I get past it in a safe way, in the best way, in the most divine way that I can. So I encourage you to do the same if you have tarot cards or if you purchase tarot readings. Just don't focus on your love and money. Focus on shadow work too, because here's the thing: if you were to do that, and do the shadow work and figure out what keeps you from moving forward and how you can release it, that would remove blockages in your life in love and money. So everything is connected. And that's why shadow work is so important. Number four, movement and energy release. Y'all already know what I do. It's the twerk for me, baby. It's the dancing, the shaking, the yoga. All of these things can help clear stagnant energy from the body, including just workouts. If you want to go to the gym, that's movement and energy release. If you want to take a run, movement and energy release. If you want to dance and shake a tail feather, yes, movement and energy release. If you want to do yoga of any sort, that's movement and energy release. So work those chakras and get moving. I try to get up and twerk in my kitchen with a cup of coffee every rising. Yes, every rising. I look at it as a ritual of self love and healing, right? Because I'm moving my sacral chakra in a very divine feminine way and I'm releasing the tension and I am controlling and being in tune and in connection with the movement and the rhythm of my body and my soul, right? All right, number five, affirmations for integration. Uh, Here are three. I'll start off with that. I allow myself to feel and heal. I'll repeat that again. Again, these are affirmations for integration. I allow myself to feel and heal. I embrace my shadows with love and compassion. I am safe to release what no longer serves me. Let me explain why I felt like these affirmations were perfect. You got to allow yourself to feel things and to heal it with grace and be kind to yourself, be gentle with you. You have to embrace your shadow side with love and compassion because your shadow side is not meant to hurt you. It's not meant to make life hard. It's the imbalance and the lack of healing that makes it hard and makes it feel a little bit unsafe. But your shadow side is actually there to protect you. So when you heal and you bring your energy into balance, your shadow side actually works hand in hand with your higher self. Yes. And that's why it's important to show your shadow side love and compassion. All right. Your shadow side is just protecting you from things and also letting you know where the triggers are so that you can heal from them. And feeling safe to release what no longer serves you is a big one. Some of us don't leave relationships because we don't feel like we financially can take care of ourselves without a second income due to whatever the situation. Some of us don't feel safe to leave that job because we're afraid we won't find the next one, the best one. So when I say the affirmation, I am safe to release what no longer serves me, that is my declaration of spirit that I trust in the divine, that I'm ready to release and that it is safe and that I intuitively know and receive and believe that it's safe for me to release the things that no longer serve my highest good. Keep in mind that healing doesn't happen overnight, y'all, but taking small steps consistently will lead you to breakthroughs. Keep in mind during some of our card shuffles, when the level up card comes out in the African Goddess Rising deck. I love that Oracle deck, y'all know that. But in that deck, um, there's a card called Level Up. And that card talks about a quantum leap. And just like healing, quantum leaps don't happen overnight. They just seem that way. They actually happen little by little, every little step you take. Every little step I take. You know what I'm saying? Every little step that you take leads to that quantum leap, that level up. It's the small things that you do that catapult you to the next level of things in your life, to the higher energies that just take you higher. You know what I'm saying? Just higher. Okay, I'm singing in y'all's ear. You'll be all right though. Love you. I love you for your patience and hearing me sing and serenade you. Yes. So, all right, y'all. We're gonna get into this tarot reading in the next segment. Stay tuned. All right, everybody. So I am using the Wild Mystic Oracle deck. Yes, the Wild Mystic Oracle deck for our tarot reading for the collective in this segment. Now let's pull some tarot cards to gain some insight into the collective energy, what's blocking us from deeper healing, and how can we move past it. I'm going to pull 3 to 4 cards. The first card will be the root of our collective blockages. The second card, what we need to acknowledge or release. The third card would be the best path forward for healing. And the fourth card would be advice from spirit guides or our ancestors. All right, first card is out. Second one, third, and fourth cards are out. Let's take a look and see what we have here. All right, so keep in mind that our first card, I'll repeat, is the root of our collective blockages. And the first card that has come out that I have here is wisdom. It's the owl card. This is an energy of, you know, not ignoring your wisdom. That's what's really blocking many of us in the collective is the energy of the distorted fact or stubborn belief. It is time for you to acknowledge and be transparent and honest with yourself and do some introspection and reflection around the fact that maybe you're not using your wisdom as you should, or maybe you're being stubborn about something new that has been added to your little, bucket of wisdom. What I'm hearing is that the this particular card is really warning us of being ignorant about things or foolish within ourselves or when it comes to others. So what's blocking you is not acknowledging your own intuition, your own spiritual or divine wisdom, and leveraging that to move past the blockages. So the moment you acknowledge this newfound wisdom, you take it into accountability and you put action behind this new wisdom, it opens up the blockages. All right. The second card I have out here from the Wild Mystic Oracle deck is what we need to acknowledge or release, which is the row card, the salamander. This card carries an energy of just understanding that there could be some upheaval to come if we don't learn from our experiences, right? We talked about wisdom, so how appropriate. Because learning from your experiences help and allow you to grow and change, right? And you need that. It's also an encouraging sign of you needing to equalize your passions. Yeah. It's a symbol of opposite forces with the 2 geckos here, or salamanders, excuse me. But it's also a symbol of opposing forces working against each other. It's almost like the energy I'm getting is that your newfound wisdom and some wisdom that you had obtained through past experiences are at opposite ends. So I feel the energy of spirit saying, kind of release what you thought you knew and take on this newfound divine wisdom that's coming to you. Take that on and internalize that. Let that be your new download, right? As far as your spiritual journey. So that is the grow card. It's also a signifier of hope and recovery after a difficult time. So Spirit is saying release the hard times, the energy of past experiences that are traumatic or dramatic, so that you can welcome in the new times, the better times that are ahead, and recover from those very difficult times that you experienced. All right, next card up that we have is card number 3. The best path forward for healing is the sacred card. It's the starfish card. This is an energy that warns us that we become preoccupied with the things that separate us from other people. This could be a card of reconciliation.
So to move forward, you do have to heal. You can forgive, but you do not have to forget. And just because you forgive someone does not mean you have to deal with them or that you have to reconcile with them. But Spirit is saying there, for some of you, there may be people that you need to reconcile with or with, parts of yourself. So reconciling with parts of you that have fractured and might be necessary at this time. I'm seeing a sunflower. Sunflowers may be important to someone, but Spirit is saying rise above a situation or seek enlightenment. So rise above it and utilize that wisdom that came up with the very first card. That's the blockage. You have to use that wisdom that you've gotten from Spirit recently. I feel like this is very new, maybe over the last couple of weeks, few months. But it is something that definitely is in opposition to what you feel you already know or what wisdom you feel like you already carry. Now, I do have a fifth card out here. The fourth card and the fifth card are determination, which is Salmon Piscean energy, and Capricorn energy with the goat. Deal. So two D's. The letter D might be important to somebody. But the fourth and fifth card will tell us the advice from our spirit guides or ancestors. And the first piece of advice comes from the deal card here. This is an energy of Spirit saying, you really need to not be tied down to material promise, if that makes sense. This card tells us about chains being broken, ridding yourself of undesirable relationships, situations, and freeing yourself from bondage. So you can use that wisdom to unblock these things and release yourself from the bondage. How appropriate. The ancestors and the divine is telling us with this card here, free yourself. Find your own personal liberation codes is what I'm hearing. With the determination card here, Piscean energy, this card is telling us that you may feel, or many of us in the collective feel a bit lost on our path. Oftentimes we take new pathways, streams, avenues, and they seem like a new direction altogether. Spirit is saying, although we might feel lost or like we have made a bad decision, try not to focus on the feeling of deviation from that path and instead focus on the actual journey ahead. The lesson from this card is that every river leads back to the sea eventually, right? So although it feels like you've taken a complete different path, Spirit is saying you haven't. You are upgrading. You are quantum leaping on your timeline. So be mindful of that. All right. All right. I love this read. If you grabbed a journal and pen, baby, take notes, and think about and journal and do some reflection and introspection around the wisdom you've learned and how you are using it, or how you are leveraging old wisdom that is now obsolete to your particular journey, meaning it's no longer relevant to you because you have spiritually upgraded. It's time for new wisdom to take place and take the lead. In closing, shadow work is a journey, not a destination. Recognizing triggers, understanding blockages, and taking small steps towards healing will create transformation over time. Be gentle with yourself. You are exactly where you need to be, and that's what Spirit wants you to know and trust.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Golden Light Podcast. I hope you found the insights and guidance uplifting and meaningful. Remember, your spiritual journey is unique, and you have all the power within you to create your destiny. If you'd like to book a personal reading, check out my website in the description box below, goldengoddesstarot.com. Follow me on TikTok and YouTube or Instagram for more inspirational spiritual messages. And don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review if you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, again, stay radiant and keep shining your light, boo.